Good afternoon, here on a Monday, ready to give you guys your fix. Today, I want to discuss some things surrounding the health and safety guidelines. Then we're going to transition to Jalen Reagor signing his rookie contract. And lastly, Pro Football Talks preseason power rankings, as well as mine. So, are you ready to get your fix? So as we all know, COVID-19 has really put a damper on sports, and rules and regulations need to be put into place for sports to begin. The MLB, the MLS, and UFC have all begun play and have proper guidelines set in place to do so. However, the NFL has been very slow in doing this. Each team has already submitted an infectious disease emergency response plan, which has been approved by the NFL Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Alan Sills. The main point is that the NFL needs to create a safe and healthy environment so that players can return to practice and get ready for the upcoming season. Now, yesterday, many players, almost every player, has tweeted and spoke their opinions with the hashtag #WeWantToPlay. Now, I want to read off what J.J. Watt posted on Twitter. In his tweet, it said, "Once again, in the interest of keeping everyone, players and fans, as informed as possible, here's an updated list of what we as players know and don't know as the first group gets set to report to training camp tomorrow." So after that, he posted a couple pictures with some notes, and those pictures, it noted that we want to play, obviously. We want to be as safe as possible. The NFL can mandate that players show up to training camp regardless if any agreement has been reached between the NFL and the NFL Players Association. We still have not been granted the full and proper training camp acclimation period necessary as recommended by the medical and training staffs. We still do not know if there will be daily testing, every other day testing, and so on for that. We still do not know if there will be preseason games or not. We still do not know how a positive COVID test will be handled in regards to others in close contact in the huddle or directly engaged and more like that at all. And also a strong and fair opt-out clause for those at higher risk or those with family members at higher risk has still not been agreed upon. If players do not show up on time, they can be fined or considered in breach of contract, even if health and safety protocols have not been agreed upon or the infectious disease emergency response plans have been approved. And again, we want to play. Okay, so as you can kind of tell, the NFL has been very slow at getting this stuff resolved, and it seems as if they were waiting to see if this virus would go away, and then they wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. That doesn't seem to be the case, as the virus is still a very real thing and needs to be addressed. So today, the NFL and the NFL Players Association and the owners actually are having a meeting to try and address some of these issues, and hopefully will make some type of progress so that the season can get underway as scheduled. Some guidelines I have seen be put into place are that team buses cannot be more than 50% full, and at least one open seat between passengers on team planes, and then individual hotel rooms for players and face coverings for all players and team personnel on the road. And players won't be allowed to leave the hotel room to use restaurants that are open to the public as well as when they're on the road. So all of these make sense, but now it's time for the harder stuff to get done. Like J.J. Watt mentioned, if and how often testing will happen, because the NFL isn't going to be in a bubble like the NBA. So it's going to be a little tougher keeping players in a confined area. Another thing is player and team personnel salaries, and if they'll be able to opt out of the season for health risk and how they're going to be paid, and the kind of issues that go along with that. I mean, this whole virus, it's a huge roadblock, okay, but it can be crossed if solutions are being discussed and if the rules and regulations are going to be put into place. It can be crossed, okay? That roadblock will be no more, but they need to get that done. I'm with the players on this one and say the NFL needs to step their game up and figure this stuff out ASAP, because not only do the players want to play, I want the players to play and the season to go on as planned. So moving over to the Philadelphia Eagles, who have agreed to terms with their first-round pick wide receiver Jalen Reagor. Reagor played his college ball at TCU for 3 seasons, where his first season he had 576 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, and 65 rushing yards. Then in his second season, he had 1,061 receiving yards, 9 touchdowns, and 170 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns. So finally, in his last season at TCU, he put about 611 receiving yards with 5 touchdowns, and I believe it was 89 rushing yards. So Jalen, he wasn't bad in college, but not great either. I think going to the Eagles is a good fit for him, as as he's shown the ability to both catch the ball and run the ball at a decent pace. This is definitely a position that the Philadelphia Eagles needed to address, as they literally have lawn chairs as wide receivers. Um, Being that Jalen can both catch and run the ball, it leads me to believe that the Eagles will use Jalen in the slot and send him in motion to mess with the defense every once in a while, kind of change up the formation and see how that defense is moving when they send him in motion, see, and maybe it can open up the playbook a little bit to more plays for Jalen. I believe this is going to be the best use for him, and I expect him to have a solid rookie season for the Eagles. Anyways, though, Jalen Reagor's contract is a 4-year deal worth $13.3 million. I'm not sure of the guaranteed portion of it yet, but that's what it was stated as to be. This is a normal contract for a rookie, especially a first-round pick. And like all rookies, the contract also comes with a 5th-year team option, which means they could franchise tag him possibly at the end of that or other things. So that's it. So that's it on Jalen Reagor. Let's switch gears to the Pro Football Talk, who came out with their preseason power rankings, which I will give starting with number 32, and then I'm going to work my way up to the number 1. So this list goes Washington, Jacksonville Jaguars, Carolina Panthers, New York Giants, Cincinnati Bengals, Detroit Lions, Miami Dolphins, Chicago Bears, New York Jets, Los Angeles Rams, Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Chargers, Arizona Cardinals, Atlanta Falcons, Cleveland Browns, Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Denver Broncos, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, Dallas Cowboys, Pittsburgh Steelers, the Philadelphia Eagles, Buffalo Bills, the Tennessee Titans, and then the Seattle Seahawks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New Orleans Saints, New England Patriots, Baltimore Ravens, San Francisco 49ers, and lastly, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, you can go find this list so you can get a picture of it. I believe I found it on, I think it was Sunday Night Football on NBC on Instagram. So if you want to go take a look at that, so you kind of get a picture of those rankings to get a little better self-opinion on that kind of thing. I feel like this ranking, though, it's pretty accurate. But I'd like to give you guys my preseason rankings. I looked at this list, and then I kind of made a few changes, not too many, but I made a couple. It's definitely different, but I'm going to give you guys my preseason rankings, and I'm going to do it the same way, 32 to number 1. So at 32, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars. At 31, I got Washington. At 30, I got the New York Jets. At 29, the Cincinnati Bengals. At 28, the New York Giants. At 27, the Detroit Lions. At 26, the Miami Dolphins. At 25, the Chicago Bears. At 24, the New England Patriots. I put them there because with the loss of Tom Brady and all the weapons that they really don't have, I mean, their defense is pretty good. I just don't see them being any higher in the power rankings, especially when Pro Football Talk had them, I believe, I think 7 or 8, 7 or 6, somewhere around there. I just think that's way too high. But yeah, anyways, at 23, I got the Los Angeles Rams. At 22, the Atlanta Falcons. At 21, the Carolina Panthers. Now, in Pro Football Talk's rankings, I believe they had the Carolina Panthers at 30. I think they're a little better than that. Their defense is lacking a little bit, but I feel like their competition, the way they play and how competitive those players are, I feel like they're going to be just fine. They got Christian McCaffrey, Teddy Bridgewater's there. They have a couple solid receivers. I think they're going to be better than 30, so that's why I put them at 21. But yeah, at 20, I got the Las Vegas Raiders. At 19, the Arizona Cardinals. At 18, the Houston Texans. At 17, the Indianapolis Colts. At 16, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles were actually ranked 8th on Pro Football Talk's focus. But with those receivers that they have to throw to and their dismantled defense from a couple years ago, that Super Bowl run, it's just I can't put them any higher. I mean, I could probably put them anywhere from the 16 to 12 range. I don't think they're any better than that. I don't think they're going to perform better than that. I mean, the last 2 seasons, I'm pretty sure it's been 8-8 or 9-7, something like that. So that's why I got them at 16. So at 15, I got the Denver Broncos. 14, the Los Angeles Chargers. 13, the Cleveland Browns. At 12, the Pittsburgh Steelers. At 11, the Tennessee Titans. At 10, the Dallas Cowboys. At 9, the Minnesota Vikings. At 8, the Green Bay Packers. At 7, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At 6, the Buffalo Bills, who I believe were I think they were still sixth, or sixth or seventh or somewhere in there. But I think that's a very good range for them, or they might have been ninth. I can't remember. But I think six is a really good fit for Buffalo. They've just revamped their wide receiver position with the addition of Stephon Diggs. I think they're going to perform very, very well this season. So I have to put them up there at six as one of the top teams in the NFL. So then at five, I got the Seattle Seahawks. At four, the New Orleans Saints. At three, the San Francisco 49ers. At two, the Baltimore Ravens. See, if you noticed, I had the Baltimore Ravens and San Francisco 49ers flip-flopped, as in Pro Football Talks. They had Baltimore at three and then San Fran at two, but I think Baltimore's a little better team, both offensively and defensively. I think defense is going to be a closer matchup, but I think Baltimore has the edge on that one. So then finally, there's one team I didn't list. That team, obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs. They just came off a Super Bowl victory. They're looking to do it again. They have an MVP quarterback in Patrick Mahomes who could have won it 2 times. It's just, they're a really solid team, and they will be for this year and maybe next. So if you were unable to keep up with this list, or you're not really sure how to picture it in your mind, then I'm going to be posting a picture of my rankings, or a couple pictures depending how big it is. So then you can go take a look and make your own opinions and see actually where those teams line up, so it's a little bit easier to comprehend than just hearing me talk about it. So be ready for that within the next day or so. So that's going to end our discussion today, as we got to the health and safety guidelines getting addressed, then Jalen Reagor signing his rookie contract, and lastly, some preseason power rankings. Again, we will probably do this after the preseason, but if there is no preseason, I'm sticking with this list. This is the list I got because what else am I going to go by? Because there's no preseason. So, in preseason, you can actually see where teams would line up. So, we'll see. But anyways, that's all. Like I said, thanks for stopping by, and you just got your fix with the Wicks.